Alright, everybody, UFC 330, UFC returns to Philadelphia, first major event in like 13 to 15 years, something like that. I gotta check again, but UFC 330, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great night of fights. The co-main event could be more impressive. Co-main event, as we know, Mackenzie Dern versus, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot, but that's how uninterested I am. I don't think any of us really, are interested in that fight. Great for women's MMA, I guess. It's a title fight, big deal for women's MMA fans, but I'm not in this list, and most other MMA fans would agree with me. So the main event, however, is very good, and it was announced very recently, a couple of hours ago today, confirmed by Dana White himself. Islam Makhachev, the UFC welterweight champion, will be defending his title for the first time against Ian Machado Garry, who's coming off a good win against Belal Muhammad last year. He's coming off 2 back-to-back wins, including Carlos Prates, the number 2 contender. And I'm going to talk in this video, I'm going to give a quick little brief prediction who I think will win the fight. Some analysis on the fight, or I'm not even sure if I said that correctly, but also, who I think might have deserved to fight more, because I feel like there are more interesting matchups for the UFC to make than Ian Garry. However, I understand why Ian Garry was chosen. On paper, in the UFC rankings, Ian Garry is the number 1 contender. He's 17-1, I believe, 16-1, one or the other. I believe 17-1, and like I say, he's coming off a good win over Belal Muhammad. However, it was quite a while ago. It wasn't super impressive. It's not like he beat Belal up, He did what he does best. He stayed at range. He defended against the grappling, and Belal's one of the better grapplers of this division. Ian Garry defended his takedown attempts really well. Got the underhooks, was able to stay off the cage, stay away from the grappling, stay out of Belal's range, and just pick him apart from the feet, really. The jabs, the straights, the kicks, they proved to be too much. He won the decision against Belal. Right before that, he beat Carlos Prates, won 49-46. Prates rocked him at the end of that fight, and I remember going crazy in that moment. But Ian Garry clearly outclassed Prates, and that wasn't even that long ago, like year and a half ago, something like that. Maybe even a little less. It was April of last year, so just over a year ago, I believe April of last year. So, number 2 contender, Carlos Prates, he has a legit claim to the title as well, As opposed to Ian Garry fighting 1 time since their fight a little over a year ago, Carlos Prates has fought 3 times, and he's won 3 times in spectacular fashion. Okay, he's beat Leon Edwards by knockout, a spectacular knockout, spinning elbow knockout, actually, that led to a finish. UFC 319, that was a big deal. That alone could have justified a title eliminator, maybe even a title shot, despite coming off the loss beforehand, just because Leon Edwards was recently champion from that point, and I don't have to explain all of that. You beat a former champion who was champion not too long ago, and you beat him the way that he did, round 1 knockout, with that spectacular move, highlight finish, then you can pretty much do anything. But he doesn't stop there. He goes on to win 2 more fights, and then you have the number 3 contender, Michael Morales, who I personally think would give Islam Makhachev the best fight just because of the massive frame. And I know Ian Garry's big for a welterweight too. Guy should probably be fighting at middleweight. But Michael Morales is buff. He's muscular. He's just big, whereas Ian Garry kind of just tall. Michael Morales is just big, and he really knows how to use his frame. He beat Gilbert Burns very easily, I believe, in the first round. Then he comes back and he knocks out, finishes Sean Brady, who was, I believe, number 1 contender going into this fight. And Sean Brady, as of the last few years before Michael Morales hit him, was beating pretty much everyone except for the champion, which was Belal Muhammad, before obviously Belal got dethroned by JDM, and then Islam came up, became not simultaneous, but a double champ when he beat JDM UFC 322 last year in November, and he dominated Jack Della Maddalena, 50-45 to him, And now for the prediction of the fight, I do think Ian Garry deserved it the most. I think Michael Morales would have been the most interesting fight, the biggest challenge for Makhachev, but he's ranked 3rd. Ian Garry's ranked 1st. He's been towards the top 5 for 1-2 years now. He even got I don't think it was officially an interim title fight, although it really should have been against Shavkat Rakhmonov in 2024, and he took Shavkat to, I believe, a split decision or a 48-47 unanimous decision, one or the other. Had a very close fight with Shavkat is what I'm trying to say. And So I do think Ian Garry deserves it the most. I think in the meantime, Islam's not the most active champion. Neither is Ian Garry, a very active contender. He was on his uprising, but he's fought 3 times in the last 2 years, which is not very active, especially in the UFC, and he's not even a champion. So Islam Makhachev, not very active. I think you put Carlos Prates against Michael Morales. Both are coming off big win streaks. Michael Morales actually has never lost. He's 18-0, although he just very recently started fighting great contenders. The Sean Brady win was really good, a top 5 victory. Gilbert Burns, top 10 at the time he fought him, but I think he needs one more before you can validate a title defense. Like I said, I think he'd give Islam the best run for his money. I still think Islam would beat him, but I think he'd put up a much better fight than Ian Garry and Carlos Prates. But I think of the 3, he is the least deserving. And everyone outside that kind of has either already had their shot or isn't deserving. These are 3 new young guys who we could see in the division, running the division 5-10 years from now. So very interesting to see how their careers play out. Down to the prediction, Ian Garry, Islam Makhachev. I think Islam takes this one pretty easily. Ian Garry has a chance with his striking. He doesn't carry that much power. He's been able to finish some guys in the past, but and I know a lot of people think his style is interesting. I'm not really sure why. I guess a lot of people are kind of simple-minded. They say if you're a striker, you're interesting. That's not always the case. Ian Garry is a counter striker. His style is this. He defends the grappling. He circles when you get him backed up to the corner. He doesn't like to be pressured very much. He likes to stay at range, stay controlled, take his time, jab at you, kick at your legs, beat you up little by little. He's a very great point fighter, and we don't see many strikers that aim to be point fighters. Most strikers are trying to knock you out. Ian Garry, if he has you hurt, he'll absolutely go for the finish. Like I said, he's finished guys in the past. He has highlight finishes. Like D-Rod, I actually went to that fight, UFC Charlotte. That was an incredible finish, one of the best finishes on the card, but he has not gotten a finish since then, and I believe that was 2023. He's beat some guys up pretty bad, like Neil Magny. If you go back and watch that fight, he dominated Magny, hurt him really bad to the legs. But like I said, he defends the grappling. He's going to stay at range. He's going to not throw very much. And he's been able to keep a lot of these great fighters at range, a lot of these great contenders, but Islam is no contender. Islam is the UFC welterweight champion of the world, former UFC lightweight champion, number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world for a reason. I think he beats Ian Garry. I think he beats him very convincingly. Charles Oliveira was a great grappler. Against Islam, it didn't matter. Dustin Poirier was a great striker. Against Islam, it didn't matter. Although Dustin Poirier did put up a very good fight against Islam for the first 3 rounds before he got finished. And, JDM had great takedown defense against Islam. Great takedown defense coming into the Islam fight. It didn't matter. You know what Islam did to JDM? He 50-45'd him. He had just under 20 minutes of control time. He took him down again and then again and then again. And like I said, Ian Garry has really good takedown defense in UFC, 80%. However, he has fought a limited number of grapplers. They like to put him against other strikers that he can kind of technically be on the feet with his technicality and his speed and his range. However, up against grapplers, he has faced challenges. He was able to keep Bilal at range for the most part. Keep Bilal off of him. But Bilal has a very simple and effective double leg. Islam has much more tools than that. If Islam gets you up against a cage and he wants you down, you're most likely going down, unless you're incredibly big, like Michael Morales, which is why I say I think Michael Morales would be the best matchup for Islam stylistically, because he actually has a chance to stay up, not because he's a better grappler and stands any chance against Islam's grappling skills, but because he's bigger and may be able to overpower Islam strength-wise. But Ian Garry, I don't think, has a chance against Islam when it comes to strength. I know Islam's a little smaller. I know Ian Garry's got the reach on him. I know he's got height on him, but Islam was a big lightweight. He belongs in this welterweight division. The way he dominated JDM showed he belongs here. So he's not at any disadvantage, really, unless, like I said, he's going up against a massive welterweight like Michael Morales, who has a frame that should be a light heavyweight. I don't even know how he makes 170. And he hasn't even had weight trouble like that. It's absolutely incredible and terrifying for his health. So he might want to stop that one day, move to middleweight. But regardless, I think Islam takes care of Ian Garry pretty easily. In a 5-round fight, I see him finishing Ian Garry by submission somewhere between the 3rd and 5th rounds. I think Ian Garry puts up a decent fight in the beginning, jabs at Islam, annoys him a little bit. Then Islam's like, all right, I'll just take you down, and I don't think Ian Garry's going to be able to stop that, at least not consistently across 25 minutes. Islam will get him down, and he will do damage when he's down there. He's going to look for the finish. He'll probably get it. He's one of the best grapplers in the world and the best fighter in the world, pound for pound, especially after Ilia Topuria's loss. So there's no debate there anymore. Islam's the best in the world. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment. Leave a comment letting me know what you think of this video. You know, what you think of Ian Garry versus Islam. How you think the matchmakers did. Who you think is going to win. Also, let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see next. Subscribe for more content. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video.